Well, today waited around all morning for IBL trade. Ended up taking one of those, and then I took one as soon as I ended the stream. There's a classic meme going on in the community of the end of stream dump. So I ended the stream to catch a little bit of movement, and it played, which we'll show you a little screenshot of at the very end of this video. But yeah, please sit back and enjoy the stream recap. This is done on my 20 50k Apex accounts that are funded. You can use code TBM for the best discount always. And of course, this is done on my live stream, which is on my main channel, Trades by Matt, every morning at market open. Let's go ahead and dive into today's recap as well as the end of stream, or right after the stream's trade. Yo, good morning. Welcome. How we doing? Happy Tuesday. Hope you're having a good day so far. Hopefully yesterday ended up okay for you. We got a little bit of movement as soon as I ended the stream, which was just classic. Ended up trading the 33 and IB tests, which were both decent. And then I turned off the computer and didn't know what else happened. So looks like we ended up closing up. We ripped up into that volume on the overnight session up at 19,900, which we did talk about yesterday. We talked about that level yesterday, the volume on the daily, and we have promptly rejected it so far, kind of getting slapped a little bit. Doesn't appear like we're getting slapped that hard because we are 0.2% down on the day, but we're almost ticking overnight lows right now. Overnight highs are what, 100 points higher, 120 points higher, coming off a VWAP a little bit. So we'll see what today brings. I don't know. I like that we are rejecting volume and coming back off it a little bit. Interesting spots would be 730 and 700, both interesting spots. Don't know if that's going to happen, but it's interesting. So we'll see what today brings. Opening up near the overnight lows, you kind of think that we push a little lower. We are above yesterday's value area high still, and that 730s is right at yesterday's value area high. So based off the daily, that wick on the daily and value area high, I think that's a pretty good looking target. Potentially a bounce spot. We'll see. 730s. That's going to be the level that I care about today, probably. If we push and hold the 820s in the overnight lows, then we're watching for 870 VWAP. We push 870, 880s, then we're watching for 930s and higher. If we crack 730, 700s, and if we get below 700s, then we're watching like low 600s in my opinion. Kind of the big if then statements there. But as the day progresses, as we all know, it's all about being smart, being patient, waiting for base hits, executing when we see them and we are confident in them, and locking a bag in, right? So markets are open. Let's have a good day. News wise on the day, I believe we got nothing, but let's double check. We've got nothing. Sick. So it's a no news day. Tomorrow we've got annual payroll revisions, whatever the heck that is, and then FOMC meeting minutes. I don't think the good stuff is till Thursday. FOMC meeting minutes without a statement is meh. Though we do have Jackson Hole tomorrow. Jackson Hole starts tomorrow and goes through Friday, I believe. So that will also probably give us some good movement. Frick, there's Fed speeches. You think that's no news? Most of the time, that's correct. It is no news. You realize that Bostic or whatever it is, he speaks constantly. Not to mention, whenever I say no news, I'm talking about within the stream hours. Things that we need to be prepared for before 10:30. All right, nice push so far off the overnight lows. Coming into yesterday's close at 860, VWAP at 870. What time frame should I look for entries as a day trader? Whichever ones you like is the honest and correct answer. Whichever ones you enjoy. There is no correct answer. Most people will look at, like, for day trading, most people will look at, like, I would say 15 minute, 5 minute, 1 minute, 30 second, some form of a tick chart or a range chart. Sometimes a 3 minute chart or something. Just got to play around with those and figure out which ones you like. At the end of the day, you got to remember they're all looking at the same data, right? It's just showing it in different granularities. So figure out which level of granularity you like. At the end of the day, it's all the same. It's all the same price action. A 15 minute chart is just made up of 3 5-minute bars, right? A 5 minute chart's made up of 5 1-minute bars, right? Just how do you want to peep into the price action? Hanging out at VWAP. Honestly, kind of a bummer. After we were, what, 60 points off of it, just to come right back up into it kind of sucks. Oh, it's lit. Y'all didn't even tell me. Dude, the calendar's getting real thin. We are, we're blasting through this thing. I feel like the year's going by fast. I feel like I say that every year, but I feel like this year's going by really fast. August 20th, Tuesday. Did you hear the one about the kid who started a business tying shoelaces on the playground? It was a not-for-profit. That one sucked. There's been way worse. That's also true. There has been way worse. Are we really going into VWAP chop? I feel like I'm refusing to believe it, but it feels very, very, very much on the table. Let's see what Delta's doing. Delta's just kind of grinding up. Looks decent. We're in the magical 80s right now. Well, our futures are better than 4x. Futures are better than 4x. There's no PDT rule. Actually, I don't know if there's one in 4x. Futures, you get tax incentives. Futures are much more scalping friendly. That's the end all be all for me. Futures are much more scalping friendly. I can come in, I can trade the exact same thing every day. I don't have to watch for what pair is doing what, and you figure out the pairs and all of that. I can just come in and trade the Nasdaq every day. It's much more scalping heavy. There's no built-in like broker spreads. It's a centralized book, which I love. It's also not just inundated with like scammy individuals like 4x is. All I needed to say was 30 minutes of straight upness, I guess. And we get a 40-point slap. Nice. Coming into VWAP. Let's see. Yesterday I bought VWAP and it... Did I buy VWAP yesterday? Or was that like 2 days ago? Maybe on Thursday? I think it was maybe Thursday. I don't really remember. But I bought VWAP on a big slap and it did not work out. And it was not yesterday. I think it must have been Thursday of last week. I'm not going to do it right now. Interested to see what happens though. Dude says straight upness and dumps. Yeah, it's really it's real technical analysis trading language. You wouldn't know. Matt, are you never tempted to trade overnight high, overnight low reversals? I am kind of, but my main thinking behind it typically is that we run it, so I just tend to not. I also just like don't really like trading like fat fades as much these days, to be perfectly honest. I try to not do that too much. I'd rather buy a pullback than fade the highs. Unless it's like a very big level that I care about a lot, like 730, for instance. 725, 730. I'd be interested in fading that. But like just randomly going into the 920s right near the overnight highs, I'm not really trying to fade that. You know what I mean? Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I don't really know how else to say it. Do you use a heat map? No, not a true heat map. I have liquidity on the side here. It's the same thing. All the heat map is doing is just showing you the book in just like a really annoying way, because it takes up your whole trading screen. In my opinion, heat map is one of those things that, like, if you're trading at work and you want to look like a badass, or you're trading around someone who doesn't understand trading and you want to look like you're a really smart badass kind of person, you use heat map or book map, because it looks confusing and it looks all crazy and stuff, but like at the end of the day, it's not really providing you any new information, but it looks cool to strangers, right? Maybe even to yourself. But yeah, there's a lot of different, much cleaner ways to get the same information. All it's doing is just showing you what's sitting around where, right? So like right now, I know we got a big block at 830. If I scroll down on the DOM at 830, I got 106 sitting down there, right? So I know there's like, I can see the big block down there, and I go down and I see 106. It still looks heavy to me. We'll see. I mean, shorting 50 is not a... Just feels like we probably go grab VWAP, but I feel like the 50 short's not terrible. Something like that. Like that. But we're already kind of making the move. We had Delta pushing a little bit, which kind of helps signify it. Got IB setting in 15 minutes, everybody. I mean, based on how we reacted up here, low-key buying 30 is not a terrible idea based on how we reacted earlier, right? You give it 6 points or something based on the current highs as well. But I don't know. I don't trust it with Delta being like this. Like down here, you got 10 points into new lows. Like could get away with potentially like a 20 buy. Giving it to, you know, 15. Right before the overnight low sweep. See how we respond, huh? Good for what? 7 points so far? 8 points? And then would have gotten very close to being stopped out. Would have been like a point away from being stopped out. And there's the stop out. Like when we're right here, it's so hard for me to want to fade that, even if it's a cheap long, because it's just like, I don't know, it feels like we probably sweep that, but apparently we don't. Apparently we don't. Honestly, what I would like is us to kind of hang out right around here for the next 10 minutes, go sideways at 30, 930 sets. We have a 10, 15 point close into like 800, 935 hits. We go back up, retest IBL, ride it into 730s, mid 730s at yesterday's value area high in the daily. Be done. That's my dream. Wicks get run, right? Wicks get run when we're hanging out the overnight lows like this. I like to think yes. I feel like recently we actually saw it oddly like this. This is looking very familiar. I feel like maybe last week we saw something very similar to this, or the week before, where like if we don't run this right now, shorting like this would be interesting to me. Okay, we ran it. Yeah, Wicks get run. And I believe that's a run of the overnight lows. GG's if you typed a 2 in the chat. All right, IB is set. Initial balance is set. First hour high and low of the day is now no longer changing. IB low, initial balance low is at 803 getting a quarter, and IBH is at 925. Honestly, if we're down here, you would kind of want to see a little bit more aggressive selling going on. We're not really seeing that yet. When we're at the lows, it's kind of what you want to see to push us through. We're not seeing it yet. Maybe it comes through. Got a little bit of selling, but nothing crazy. It's just not that aggressive. Which whenever it's not that aggressive, it just makes me think that the markets naturally want to go higher typically. Maybe a hot take for some of you, but typically if things are slow, the phrase is don't short a dull market, right? Or don't short a boring market. Typically when things are slow, we just kind of lift. We lift higher. And so whenever we're at lows like this, and we're not really doing much, we're just kind of going sideways and not really like pressing it super hard or aggressively, I'm inclined to think that we typically lift, but maybe we can make it happen here. Like Delta's still getting slapped a little bit. Still have some sellers around. It just doesn't feel that aggressive. Until I bid that low. Yeah, that's valid. Like even buying the overnight lows here, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. It's a sub 10 point trade, right? Or right at it. Like you're buying, 08s to 10s or whatever. Got to stop at new lows on the session. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't really want to step in front of that either, necessarily. Just don't really enjoy those styles of trades. They're not like as, it's more of a discretionary trade than a true setup, I think. I've been trying to do more true setups recently. All right, there's through IBL. Candles closing right at IB. I hate that. Right inside it. It's a 5 point snap through it. Okay, so now let's just hang out here. Let's hang out at the 90s. Close 85, 90, and then go back and retest it. Like 30 seconds, just hang out here. Might be one of those days where we don't get the fill, huh? Back to back, just like yesterday. Got the fill way later. But just getting nice continuation. I mean, this is a 50 point candle. Not bad. 717 is the high of the other candle. Yeah, I'm not going to be a dick for a tick on that. More talking when I'm talking about big daily levels, I'm talking about zones. I'm not talking about specifics, because you throw in yesterday's value area high in there, so it's 25 to 17, wherever that's 730 to 17, that whole area is more what I'm talking about of being of interest. I think on the daily chart, going down to the tick or to the point, the daily chart's it's big. It's got a lot of room for a little bit of movement. And when you're looking at a daily chart, 10 points is not really, that's a rounding error. You know what I mean? How long after not hitting your entry will you remove a trade? I don't know. It just depends. I typically just take it off so I can see it a little cleaner without having a bias put in of, oh, I want this to fill. We're coming into IB. It might slap it through. I don't know. We'll see. Got buyers trying to make a move. Decent candle. Last couple of minutes. I'm moving this down. I do not think it's far-fetched to expect. If we do rotate IBL, I don't think it's far-fetched to try and look for 20 points out of it. Obviously, I'll take it off. If I even get filled, I'll take it off if it's not working. But I don't think it's very far-fetched to look at that. Or even, this fill as 88s. 5 points higher. But, I mean, pretty strong-looking candle so far. Kind of feel like I'm stepping in front of it just a little bit. But we'll see. For real? 2 points? 1.5 points? All right, I'm in. We still got buyers, so I gotta keep an eye on it. Overnight low seems very much in play. And this 88 test. 87 off that candle close. I'm gonna go ahead and move this to break even, just to take off some of the stress in case we giga push, but I'd like to see the full rotation, obviously. Looks like I get stopped out here. I mean, at that point, we couldn't even go down and retest it. Come on. I was really wanting to see 88 trade. God, that was like 3 times. That was like 3 times. I could have taken a full 10 points there. I really wanted to see 88 trade. I thought we were going to do it off this slap, and we couldn't do it. So we have a lot of strength there into IBL. I still like the IBL trades here. I just am not willing to, hold it in to draw down into the overnight lows for it. And I really am kind of shocked that we didn't trade 88s. That's like hardly any retrace at all to go test that prior high, or that wick high, and we couldn't even do it. That's questionable at the best, in my opinion. Could have taken full 10 point base hit. I don't really know what I think on it. I'm inclined to think like I should have taken the 10 points because the 10 points was gifted to me. However, I'm also like, that 88 for 15 to 20 points almost seemed automatic, in my opinion. The 88 seemed automatic, especially after this retest where I didn't get stopped out and the flush down, and then the secondary flush, I thought for sure we sweep it there, but didn't do it. So whatever. It's a good stop out for me. I'm gonna call it there for this stream. I kind of want to see what happens with this initial balance area and how we respond. No complaints on my side. Now I just got to be patient and wait for something else.